This is exactly why we can't make exceptions. Professor Linda Whitmore's voice echoed in the empty hallway as Jessica Thompson stood trembling before her. You missed your final exam, Miss Thompson. That's a 0. Your scholarship is revoked. You're expelled. Jessica's knees hit the cold pavement beside the young man. Her nursing training kicked in before conscious thought could interfere. Check airway. Check pulse. Assess breathing. Sir, can you hear me? No response. Pulse weak, thready. Respiratory depression. Pupils pinpoint. Opioid overdose. The woman in the expensive coat was still screaming into her phone. He just collapsed. We were just walking and please, he's my son. Jessica's fingers were already moving, tilting the young man's head back, checking for obstructions. Ma'am, I need you to hang up and help me. What's his name? David, the woman sobbed. His name is David. If you're ready to hear the whole story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as crazy as this one. And you don't want to miss it. Now let's get into it. Okay, David's going to be okay. Jessica pulled out her phone with shaking hands. But I need Narcan. Does anyone have Narcan? The convenience store owner burst through the door, thrust a nasal spray into her hands. Here. I keep it behind the counter. Jessica administered the first dose, positioned David's airway, began rescue breathing. 1 breath. 2 breaths. His chest rose and fell with her rhythm, but his eyes stayed closed. Asterisk, come on. Come on, asterisk. 30 seconds. Nothing. She administered the second dose. Kept breathing for him. The woman, David's mother, clutched Jessica's arm so tightly it hurt. Is he going to die? Please, is my son going to die? Jessica didn't answer. She was counting compressions, counting breaths, counting seconds. 1 minute. David's fingers twitched. 2 minutes. A gasping, desperate breath. 3 minutes. His eyes fluttered open. Confused. Terrified. Alive. You're okay, Jessica said even as her own hands trembled. You overdosed. I gave you Narcan. The ambulance is coming. Just keep breathing, David. Behind her, sirens wailed closer. Jessica stayed on her knees in the cold, one hand on David's chest, feeling it rise and fall. Rise and fall. Asterisk, he's alive. He's breathing. He's okay. Asterisk. The ambulance screeched to a stop. Paramedics swarmed. Someone pulled Jessica back gently. We've got him now. You did good. You saved his life. David's mother grabbed Jessica's hands, tears streaming down her face. What's your name? Please, what's your name? Jessica. Jessica Thompson. Jessica. The woman's voice broke. Thank you. Thank you for saving my son. Then she climbed into the ambulance. The doors slammed. The sirens screamed back to life. And Jessica stood alone on the sidewalk, scrubs soaked, hands shaking as her phone exploded with notifications. 7:54 a.m. that the exam had started 9 minutes ago. Jessica ran anyway. Her lungs burned. Her scrubs, soaked with sweat, vomit, and the metallic tang of someone else's blood, clung to her skin. People on the sidewalk gave her wide berth, their faces twisted in disgust or concern. She didn't care. She ran like her life depended on it, because it did. Harrison Hall loomed ahead, its brick facade indifferent to her desperation. Jessica took the stairs 2 at a time, burst through the heavy doors and sprinted down the hallway. Room 304. 4th door on the left. The door was closed. Through the small window, Jessica could see 30 heads bent over exam booklets. Professor Whitmore sat at the front desk, reading something on her laptop. The clock on the wall read 8:17 a.m. 17 minutes late. Jessica's hand trembled as she knocked. Whitmore looked up. Her eyes landed on Jessica, took in the stained scrubs, the wild hair, the desperation written across her face. Whitmore checked her watch. Then she looked back down at her laptop. Jessica knocked again, harder this time. Several students glanced toward the door. One of them, Destiny, Jessica's roommate, mouthed something Jessica couldn't make out. Whitmore stood slowly, deliberately. She walked to the door and opened it exactly 3 inches. Miss Thompson. Her voice was flat, devoid of warmth. You're late. Professor, I'm so sorry. There was an emergency. A man was dying outside the subway station and I had to. The exam began at 8 a.m. sharp. Whitmore's expression didn't change. Late entry is not permitted under any circumstances. It's in the syllabus. But I was performing CPR. I saved someone's life. I can show you. That was your choice, Miss Thompson. Whitmore's eyes were cold, clinical. And choices have consequences. You receive a 0 on this exam. That's final. Jessica felt the floor tilt beneath her. Professor, please. I can take it now. I'll stay late. Oh. This conversation is over. Whitmore started to close the door. Please? The word came out louder than Jessica intended. Heads turned inside the classroom. Please, I need this exam. I need. What you need, Whitmore said, voice dropping to a harsh whisper, is to learn that the world doesn't stop for your problems. Drug overdoses happen every day in your neighborhoods. That's not my concern. My concern is maintaining academic standards. Your neighborhoods. The words hung in the air like poison. Jessica stood there, numb as the door clicked shut. Through the window, she watched Whitmore return to her desk. Watched her classmates bend back over their exams. Watched the clock tick forward. 8:19 a.m. She looked down at her hands. Blood crusted under her fingernails. Vomit stains on her sleeves. The faint smell of death and desperation clung to her like a second skin. David Castellano was alive because she'd stopped. And Jessica Thompson's future had just died because she had. She turned and walked down the hallway on legs that didn't feel like her own. Found the bathroom. Locked herself in a stall. And finally, let herself break. Her phone buzzed. An email notification. From * Office of Student Affairs. Subject * academic standing, urgent. Jessica's hands shook as she opened it. Miss Thompson. * your absence from the Pharmacology 402 final exam has resulted in a course grade of F. This brings your cumulative GPA below the 3.0 minimum required for presidential scholarship retention. * Your scholarship, $31,000 per year, is hereby revoked, effective immediately. You have 48 hours to arrange payment of $31,000 for the current semester, or you will be administratively withdrawn from the university. Dr. Patricia Reeves, Dean of Student Affairs. Jessica read it once, twice, 3 times. $31,000. She had $340 in her checking account. Her phone rang. Grandma's number. Hey, baby. Her grandmother's voice was bright, excited. How'd that big exam go? I've been praying all morning. Jessica pressed her hand over her mouth to keep the sob from escaping. It went fine, Grandma. Her voice sounded strange, distant. It went just fine. I knew it. Your mama's looking down, smiling so big. My grandbaby's gonna be a nurse. Jessica squeezed her eyes shut. Yeah, Grandma. You okay, baby? You sound tired. Just, long day. I'll call you later, okay? Okay, baby. Love you. Love you too. Jessica hung up and stared at the email on her screen. At the number that might as well have been $1 million. At 4 years of sacrifice dissolving into nothing. She'd saved David Castellano's life. And it had cost her everything. Jessica stumbled back to her apartment in a fog. The 20-minute walk felt like hours. Her scrubs had dried stiff against her skin, the smell of vomit making her stomach turn with every step. Destiny was waiting on the front steps, her contract's textbook forgotten in her lap. She jumped up the moment she saw Jessica. Oh my God, Jess, where have you been? I texted you like 50 times? She stopped mid-sentence, taking in Jessica's appearance. What happened? Are you hurt? Jessica shook her head. Words felt impossible. Come on. Destiny guided her inside, up the stairs to their third-floor apartment. The heat still wasn't working. Their breath fogged in the cold air. Jessica went straight to the bathroom sink. Turned on the water. Watched it run over her hands, pink at first, then clear. But the blood under her fingernails wouldn't come out. She scrubbed harder. Jess. Destiny stood in the doorway. Talk to me. What happened? There was a man. Jessica's voice sounded hollow, unfamiliar. Outside the subway. Overdosing. Everyone just walked past him. Everyone. She scrubbed harder. Her hands were raw, now red. So I stopped. I performed CPR. Gave him Narcan. He was dying, Destiny. His lips were blue. His mother was screaming. And I saved him. That's amazing, Jess. You're a hero. I missed my exam. Silence. Whitmore wouldn't let me in. Wouldn't even listen. Just said I made my choice and shut the door in my face. Destiny's expression shifted from concern to anger. That's bullshit. We'll appeal. You were literally saving someone's life. You have documentation, right? Hospital records, ambulance. Jessica's phone buzzed on the counter. She dried her hands on a threadbare towel and picked it up. Email notification. From Office of Student Affairs, subject. Academic standing, urgent. Her finger hovered over the screen. Part of her knew before she even opened it, what it would say. She opened it anyway. Miss Thompson. Asterisk, your absence from the Pharmacology 402 final exam has resulted in a course grade of F. This brings your cumulative GPA below the 3.0 minimum required for presidential scholarship retention. Asterisk. Your scholarship, $31,000 per year, is hereby revoked, effective immediately. You have 48 hours to arrange payment of $31,000 for the current semester, or you will be administratively withdrawn from the university. Sincerely, Dr. Patricia Reeves, Dean of Student Affairs. Jessica read it 3 times. The numbers didn't change. Jess. Destiny's voice was small, scared. What is it? They revoked my scholarship. What? They can't. 48 hours to pay $31,000 or I'm out. Destiny grabbed the phone, read the email herself. This is insane. You saved someone's life. We'll fight this. We'll fight with what? Jessica's laugh was bitter, broken. I have $340 in my checking account. Rent's already overdue. We got an eviction notice yesterday. She pulled the crumpled paper from her backpack, smoothed it on the counter. Final notice. Pay $850 by Wednesday, November 22nd or vacate premises. We'll figure it out, Destiny said, but her voice wavered. We always do. Jessica stared at the 2 pieces of paper. The eviction notice. The email. The math was simple, brutal, impossible. Rent, $850. Tuition, $31,000. Total needed, $31,850. Money she had, $340. The numbers wouldn't add up. No matter how many times she ran them in her head, they wouldn't add up. Her phone rang. Grandma's number lit up the screen. Jessica almost didn't answer. Almost let it go to voicemail. But she wouldn't, ignore her grandmother. Hey Grandma. Baby. Tell me everything. How'd that exam go? The lie came easily, automatically. It went fine. I knew it would. Your mama would be so proud right now. My grandbaby about to be a nurse. Jessica's throat closed. She pressed her hand over her mouth. Grandma, I need to go. You sound funny, baby. You feeling okay? Yeah, just tired. Long day. Okay, sweetheart. You get some rest. Love you so much. Love you too, Grandma. Jessica hung up and slid down the bathroom wall until she was sitting on the cold tile floor. Destiny sat beside her, saying nothing. I saved his life, Jessica whispered. David. That was his name. David Castellano. His mother thanked me. The paramedic said I saved him. And it cost me everything. Your mama would still be proud, Destiny said softly. You did the right thing. The right thing shouldn't cost this much. Jessica pulled her knees to her chest and finally, let herself cry. Great, heaving sobs that shook her whole body. 4 years of straight A's. 4 years of double shifts and ramen dinners and studying until 3 a.m. 4 years of sacrifice, all leading to this moment. Gone. All of it gone. Because she'd stopped when everyone else kept walking. Friday evening at Murphy's Diner was always chaos. Jessica moved through it like a ghost. Coffee to table 6. Refill for the couple by the window. Clear plates from the booth in the corner. Smile. Say thank you. Repeat. Her mind ran the same calculation over and over like a broken record. $31,000 tuition. $850 rent. $340 in checking. The numbers never changed. The math never worked. Excuse me, hon? An older man at the counter waved her over. Salt and pepper beard, Bruins cap, kind eyes. Can I get a refill? Of course. Jessica poured coffee with mechanical precision. Didn't spill a drop despite her shaking hands. Hey. The man tilted his head, studying her face. Aren't you that girl from the news? Jessica blinked. I'm sorry? He pulled out his phone, scrolled for a moment, then turned the screen toward her. Local Channel 7 News. Headline, Billionaire son saved by nursing student. Jessica's breath caught. The video was shaky, clearly filmed on someone's phone. But there she was, on her knees on the sidewalk, David's head cradled in her lap, pressing air into his lungs. 1 breath. 2 breaths. You could see his mother in the background, pacing, screaming into her phone. You could see Jessica's face, focused, determined, scared. You could see the exact moment David's eyes opened. Jessica's hands went numb. That's you, right? The man scrolled down to the article. Says here you're a nursing student. Saved David Castellano, that tech guy's son. Worth like $40 billion or something. The words blurred on the screen. Jessica Thompson, 21, a nursing student at Boston University, saved the life of David Castellano, 23, son of tech mogul Richard Castellano, net worth $40 billion, on Wednesday morning. Castellano had suffered an opioid overdose outside a convenience store on Tremont Street. Thompson administered Narcan and performed CPR, saving Castellano's life, but missed her final exam in the process. According to sources, Thompson's scholarship was subsequently revoked, and she now faces expulsion unless she can pay $31,000 within 48 hours. Jessica couldn't breathe. "That's messed up," the man said, shaking his head. "You save someone's life and the school punishes you for it? That ain't right." He pulled out his wallet, dropped 2 20s and a 10 on the counter. His check was $12. "You're a hero, kid. Don't let anyone tell you different." Jessica stared at the bills. $50. The biggest tip she'd gotten all month. "Thank you," she whispered. The man just nodded and walked out. Jessica made it to the walk-in freezer before the tears came. She sat on a crate of lettuce, shoulders shaking, surrounded by the hum of industrial refrigeration and the smell of food she couldn't afford to eat. The door opened. Marcus, the line cook, poked his head in. "You good, Jess?" She wiped her face. "Yeah. Just needed a minute." "Take your time. I got the floor." When Jessica finally got home at 11:30 p.m., Destiny was sitting on their thrift store couch, phone in hand, eyes wide. "Jess. Oh my God, Jess, you need to see this." "I already saw." Jessica dropped her bag by the door. "Customer showed me. Channel 7. Not just Channel 7. Destiny turned her phone around. "It's everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. The video has 2 million views." Jessica sat down heavily. The screen showed her face frozen mid-CPR, overlaid with text. "This nursing student saved a billionaire's son. Then got expelled for missing her exam." The view count kept climbing as she watched. 2.1 million. 2.2 million. "Look at the comments." Destiny scrolled. "This is what heroes look like. The university should be ashamed. She literally saved someone's life and they punished her? But then. She made her choice. Rules are rules. Why is this even news? Happens every day. Already playing the race card. I see face with rolling eyes. These scholarship students always want special treatment." Jessica's hands started shaking again. "Stop. I can't. I don't want to read anymore." Destiny locked her phone. "Jess, people are on your side. This could what, Destiny? Get me my scholarship back? Get me $31,000 by Monday?" Jessica's laugh was hollow. "It's just noise. None of it matters." They sat in silence. The heat was still off. Their breath fogged in the cold air. Jessica's phone rang. Unknown number. Boston area code. She almost didn't answer. Almost let it go to voicemail. But something made her swipe to accept. "Hello? Miss Thompson?" The voice was soft, cultured, shaking slightly. "This is Catherine Castellano, David's mother. The woman you met on Wednesday." Jessica's heart stopped. "Mrs. Castellano." Her voice came out as barely a whisper. How is David?" "He's alive because of you." Catherine's voice cracked. "He's in rehab now. A good facility. He's getting the help he needs. And Jessica, I saw the news. I know what it cost you. I didn't do it for..." "I know you didn't. That's exactly why I'm calling." Catherine paused. "My husband Richard and I would like to meet you. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. May we come to you?" Jessica looked around the apartment. Peeling paint. Thrift store furniture. Empty ramen cups on the counter. The eviction notice still taped to the fridge. "You don't have to do that. Really, I'm just glad David is." "Jessica." Catherine's voice was firm now, gentle but unyielding. "You saved our son when dozens of people walked past. You stopped. You cared. The least we can do is show up." Jessica closed her eyes. "Okay. Tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock. And Jessica? Thank you. For everything." The line went dead. Jessica lowered the phone slowly, staring at the blank screen. Destiny was watching her, eyes wide. Who was that? David's mother. Jessica's voice sounded far away. "Catherine Castellano. She and her husband want to meet me. Tomorrow. Here." Destiny grabbed Jessica's shoulders. "Jess, do you understand what this means? It means I need to clean this apartment." "No." Destiny shook her head, a smile breaking across her face. "This is your chance. This is how you fight back. But Jessica couldn't smile. Couldn't hope. Not yet. Because hoping, and losing again, might actually break her. Saturday morning, Jessica woke to Destiny shaking her shoulder. Get up. We have 45 minutes. They tore through the apartment like a tornado. Destiny grabbed armfuls of dirty laundry and stuffed them into closets. Jessica scrubbed the kitchen counter with a sponge that was more holes than material. They shoved dirty dishes into the oven, out of sight, out of mind. Why would a billionaire come to my apartment? Jessica's voice pitched higher with each word. Destiny, look at this place. The paint is literally peeling off the walls. We have ramen cups as decor. Because you saved his son's life. Destiny was wiping down the coffee table with Windex and paper towels. That matters more than paint. Does it? Jessica stared at the eviction notice still taped to the fridge. Because it didn't matter to Whitmore. Didn't matter to the dean. Why would it matter to them? Because they're not monsters. Destiny grabbed Jessica's shoulders. Breathe. Just breathe. Jessica tried. Failed. 9:45 a.m. Then they heard it. Asterisk whoop. 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 Asterisk. The sound was distant at first, almost dreamlike. Then louder. Closer. The rhythmic thunder of rotor blades cutting through morning air. Is that? Destiny ran to the window. Jessica followed, heart hammering. Outside, the entire apartment complex had come alive. Kids poured out of doorways pointing at the sky. Mrs. Rodriguez from 2B stood on the sidewalk, clutching her rosary, lips moving in silent prayer. Mr. Chin was filming on his phone. The helicopter descended. It was sleek, black, impossibly expensive looking. Gold lettering gleamed on its side. Castellano Industries. Oh my God, Destiny breathed. Oh my God, Jess, they came in a helicopter. The rotor wash hit as it landed in the parking lot. Trash scattered in violent spirals. Papers flew. Someone's laundry blew off a balcony railing. The noise was deafening, earth-shaking, impossible to ignore. The rotors slowed. The door opened. Richard Castellano stepped out first. White, late 50s, sharp gray suit that probably cost more than Jessica's entire tuition. He moved with the kind of confidence that came from never having to ask permission for anything. Salt and pepper hair, strong jaw, eyes hidden behind aviator sunglasses. Then Catherine. Elegant cream coat, pearl earrings, the same kind eyes Jessica remembered from Wednesday morning, but steadier now, determined. Then David. He was pale, thinner than Jessica remembered. He wore jeans and a simple black hoodie, hands shoved in his pockets. As he climbed out of the helicopter, Jessica could see it, a small circular chip pinned to his chest. White and blue. 30 days. 30 days sober. They walked directly toward Jessica's building. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Phones lifted, recording every step. Mrs. Rodriguez crossed herself. Jessica couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Jess. Destiny's voice was small. They're coming to our door. 3 knocks. Firm, polite, inevitable. Jessica walked to the door on legs that didn't feel like her own. Her hand trembled as she reached for the knob. She caught her reflection in the small mirror by the entrance. T-shirt with a hole in the collar, old jeans, hair pulled back in a messy bun. She looked like exactly what she was. Broke, exhausted, defeated. She opened the door. Richard Castellano stood there, flanked by Catherine and David. Up close, he was even more imposing. Tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of presence that commanded boardrooms and bent institutions to his will. Miss Thompson, he said. His voice was deep, measured, carrying the weight of someone used to being listened to. May we come in? Jessica stepped aside wordlessly. They entered her tiny apartment. Richard's eyes swept the space, taking in the peeling paint, the thrift store couch with its fraying cushions, the ramen cups Destiny hadn't had time to hide, the single photograph of Jessica and her mother taped to the wall with scotch tape because they couldn't afford frames. Jessica was mortally, painfully aware of every detail. The crack in the ceiling. The draft from the window they tried to seal with duct tape. The eviction notice on the fridge. This was where she lived. This was all she had. And these people had arrived in a helicopter. Please sit. Jessica's voice came out hoarse. Richard and Catherine sat on the threadbare couch. David remained standing, shifting his weight from foot to foot, eyes fixed on the floor. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Finally, David spoke. I'm sorry. His voice was barely above a whisper. He still wouldn't look at Jessica. Jessica blinked. For what? For what it cost you. David's hands were shaking. I saw the news. The videos. You lost your scholarship because you saved me. You're getting evicted. You might lose everything. And I'm His voice cracked. I'm in rehab now because of you. I'm alive because of you. And you lost everything. Jessica's throat tightened. David, you didn't do anything wrong. But you lost. I lost my scholarship because of a broken system. Jessica's voice was firm now. Not because of you. Never because of you. Richard leaned forward, elbows on his knees. He removed his sunglasses and his eyes, sharp, intelligent, furious, locked onto Jessica's. Jessica, we looked into your case. My legal team has spent the last 2 days pulling records, making calls, asking questions. He paused. We know everything. He reached into a leather briefcase Jessica hadn't noticed and pulled out a thick folder. Professor Linda Whitmore denied your appeal in 90 seconds. Never looked at the paramedic documentation. Never reviewed the hospital records. Never considered the circumstances. Richard's jaw tightened. When my wife called the university to explain what happened, the dean, Dr. Patricia Reeves, told her, and I quote, drug-related incidents don't qualify as legitimate emergencies. Jessica's fists clenched. David was dying, she said. Richard's smile was cold, sharp, dangerous. Exactly. Richard opened the folder. So we hired investigators. And Jessica, what we found is worse than one bad decision. He spread documents across Jessica's coffee table. Excel spreadsheets. Demographic breakdowns. Meeting minutes. University records spanning 5 years. 89 students denied emergency accommodations over the past 5 years, Richard said, his finger tracing down a highlighted column. 73% were students of color. Jessica's breath caught. White students. Richard pulled out another sheet. 89% approval rate for emergency requests. Black students? 27%. The numbers swam before Jessica's eyes. She reached for one of the spreadsheets, hands trembling. Names redacted, but the pattern was unmistakable. Denial after denial after denial. And beside each one, demographic information. Black, Latina, Asian, Black. They're not enforcing policy equally, Catherine said softly. They're weaponizing it. Richard pulled out his phone. We obtained these through a FOIA request. Faculty meeting recordings. Listen. He pressed play. Audio clip, tinny, distant but clear asterisk. Asterisk male voice, he's a good kid from a good family. Let's be flexible. Car accidents happen. Everyone deserves compassion. Asterisk. Multiple voices murmuring agreement. Richard stopped it. White student. Missed exam because of a car accident. He scrolled, pressed play again. Different meeting, different voice asterisk. Asterisk female voice, we can't set precedents. These students need to learn personal responsibility. She missed her grandmother's funeral by choice. Policy is policy. Asterisk. Jessica felt sick. Same policy, Richard said. Different enforcement. I thought I was the only one, Jessica whispered. David finally looked up, met her eyes. You're not. My dad found 63 other cases just like yours. Richard pulled out another document. Professor Whitmore has taught for 12 years. In that time, she's personally denied 31 emergency accommodation requests. 28 were students of color. He paused. The 3 white students she denied? All later received informal makeups. No documentation. No official process. Just quiet exceptions. Catherine leaned forward. When I called her to explain about David, to tell her you'd saved my son's life, she said, and I'm quoting directly, Mrs. Castellano, I understand your gratitude, but we can't make exceptions for every dramatic rescue story. These students need to learn that choices have consequences. Jessica's stomach turned. She called saving your son a dramatic rescue story? Yes. Richard's face went stone cold. So here's what we're proposing. He pulled out another folder, thicker this one, filled with legal documents, press releases, strategic plans. We're not offering charity, Jessica. We're offering justice. What does that mean? It means we fight. Publicly. Loudly. Legally. We expose this pattern. We demand systemic change. Richard's eyes locked onto hers. But we need your permission. Jessica thought about her mother. About the clinic doctor who dismissed her symptoms, who'd let her die because he didn't think she was worth a second look. About Grandma's voice on the phone, your mama would be proud. About 63 other students crushed by this same system. What would that look like? She asked quietly. Press conferences, Catherine said. Media attention. Federal complaints. A Title VI civil rights investigation. We make this so loud they can't ignore it. And I risked destroying any chance at another nursing school, Jessica said. No university wants the troublemaker who sued her way back in. Richard nodded slowly. That's the risk. But consider the alternative. Which is? You become the reason the next student doesn't have to choose between saving a life and keeping their future. Silence filled the small apartment. Jessica looked at the eviction notice on her fridge. At the scholarship revocation email still open on her phone. At the photograph of her and her mother taped to the wall. Two smiling faces before everything fell apart. Help people nobody else stops for. That's what her mother had said. Her last words, her last wish, her final lesson. Jessica had stopped for David when everyone else walked past. Now she had another choice. Walk away quietly, transfer schools, disappear into the system that had crushed her. Or stop again. Stand. Fight. She took a breath. Okay, Jessica said. Let's fight. Sunday morning, a black SUV pulled up outside Jessica's apartment. A man in a crisp navy suit emerged, carrying a leather briefcase that probably cost more than Jessica's rent. James Sullivan. Richard Castellano's attorney. They gathered around Jessica's coffee table like generals planning a siege. Sullivan spread more documents across the surface. Legal briefs, press releases, strategic timelines. We file simultaneously, Sullivan said, his voice precise, clinical. Title VI complaint with the Department of Education. Public pressure campaign. And the financial threat. Richard nodded. The Castellano Foundation has donated $120 million to this university over 15 years. They'll listen. And if they don't? Jessica's voice was small. Catherine's smile was sharp. Then we go nuclear. Monday, 9:00 a.m. Sullivan dialed. Put the phone on speaker. Everyone leaned in. Office of the President. James Sullivan, attorney for the Castellano family and Jessica Thompson. I need to speak with Dr. Harrington regarding Miss Thompson's scholarship revocation. Pause. Hold music. Then a smooth, practiced voice. This is Dr. Marcus Harrington. I'm aware of Miss Thompson's case. Student matters are confidential, but I can assure you our policies are applied fairly to all. Richard cut him off. Dr. Harrington, this is Richard Castellano. The student you expelled saved my son's life. I'd like to understand why saving a life doesn't qualify as a legitimate emergency. Long pause. The smoothness faltered. Mr. Castellano. We greatly appreciate Jessica's heroism. However, our academic policies must be enforced consistently. Sullivan's turn. Then explain why white students receive informal makeups 6 times more often than students of color. We have 5 years of data. 89 cases. Audio recordings. Meeting minutes showing discriminatory language. Papers rustling on the other end. Harrington's voice lost its polish. That's a very serious accusation. It's a very serious problem. Richard's voice was ice. Here's what happens next. You have 72 hours to reinstate Jessica's scholarship, suspend Professor Whitmore pending investigation, and implement policy changes. Or we go public with everything, and I pull every dollar my foundation has committed. $120 million in current donations. $200 million in planned endowments. Gone. Mr. Castellano, surely we can discuss this in a more. 72 hours. Clock starts now. Richard ended the call. Silence filled the apartment. David stared at his father, eyes wide. Holy shit, Dad. Richard's expression didn't change. Now we wait. They didn't wait long. By Tuesday afternoon, the story had leaked. Intentionally, Sullivan later admitted with a slight smile. Philadelphia Inquirer *, student loses scholarship after saving billionaire's son. Boston Globe *, university faces backlash over heartless policy. CNN *, racial bias alleged in university emergency policies. Jessica's phone exploded. Her TikTok video hit 8 million views. 600,000 followers overnight. The comments section became a war zone. This is what systemic racism looks like. * she's just looking for a handout. Rules are rules. * expel the dean, not the hero. The university's Facebook page was under siege. Angry parents. Alumni threatening to stop donations. Current students demanding answers. Wednesday morning, Jessica woke to the sound of chanting. She ran to the window. Her heart stopped. 200 students flooded the quad outside the administration building. Signs everywhere. We stand with Jessica. Kindness isn't a crime. Expel racism, not heroes. Professor Maria Santos. Jessica recognized her from ethics class. stood on the steps with a megaphone. "We teach students to save lives first." Her voice carried across the crowd. "Then this university punishes Jessica Thompson for doing exactly that. This is hypocrisy. This is discrimination. This ends now." The crowd roared. Jessica's phone buzzed in her hand. Destiny was there holding a sign. So was Marcus from the diner. So were classmates Jessica barely knew. They were marching for her. Tears blurred her vision. Wednesday evening, 6:47 p.m. Email notification. From Dr. Patricia Reeves, Dean of Student Affairs. Subject mandatory attendance required. Miss Thompson, you are required to attend an emergency academic review board hearing. Thursday, November 23rd, 9:00 a.m. Administration Building, Conference Room 301. Your attendance is mandatory. Dr. Patricia Reeves. No explanation. No details. No warning to bring representation. Jessica's hands started shaking. She called Sullivan immediately. "They're setting you up," he said, voice tight. "This is retaliation. An ambush. Don't go alone." "What do I do?" "We fight dirty too. I'll be there at 8:45 a.m. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything." "And Jessica?" "Yeah. They just made their biggest mistake." Thursday 9 a.m. Jessica arrived at the administration building with Sullivan's words echoing in her head. Don't sign anything. She expected a small office. Maybe Dean Reeves behind a desk. A conversation. Instead, she walked into conference room 301 and froze. 5 people sat at a long table. Dean Patricia Reeves at the center. Professor Whitmore to her right, arms crossed, expression cold. 3 other faculty members Jessica vaguely recognized. And at the end, a man in an expensive suit, University Legal Counsel. "What is this?" Jessica's voice came out smaller than she intended. Academic Standards Review Board hearing. Reeves gestured to an empty chair across from them. "Please sit, Miss Thompson." Jessica sat, heart hammering. She pulled out her phone to text Richard. "Phone's away," the legal counsel said smoothly. "This is a confidential proceeding." Jessica's hand trembled as she set the phone face down on the table. Whitmore opened a thick dossier. "Miss Thompson, you've demonstrated a pattern of behavioral issues throughout your academic career." "What issues?" Jessica's throat was dry. "My GPA is 3.8. Sophomore year, paper submitted 12 hours late. Junior year, you questioned a test answer and argued with Professor Morgan. Freshman year, an unpaid parking ticket." Jessica stared. "That paper was late because my grandmother was in the hospital. The test question was wrong. Professor Morgan agreed and changed the answer key for everyone. And the parking ticket was a clerical error. I didn't even own a car." "We're not debating individual incidents," Whitmore said. "We're examining the pattern." Professor Collins leaned forward. "I had Miss Thompson in pathophysiology. Bright student but combative. Always questioning curriculum. Demanding special accommodations." Jessica's voice cracked. "I asked for more diverse case studies because your textbook had 0 black patients in 400 pages. You demanded we change curriculum to suit your personal views. I asked for better education." Reeves held up a hand. "Miss Thompson, control your tone. This outburst demonstrates exactly the behavioral concerns we're addressing." Jessica looked around the table. 5 white faces. All disapproving. All judging. This was a setup. "We're offering you an option," Reeves said, leaning forward. "Withdraw voluntarily. We'll seal your records. You can transfer, reapply elsewhere without this complication. You want me to quit?" The legal counsel's smile was professional, practiced. "We want to resolve this gracefully. If you refuse, we proceed with formal dismissal for conduct violations. Those appear on transcripts, background checks. Most nursing programs won't accept students with disciplinary dismissals. This is retaliation." Jessica's hands were shaking. "You're blackmailing me." "This is standard academic review," Reeves said coldly. "You have until 5 o'clock today. Sign the voluntary withdrawal or we proceed with a formal hearing tomorrow morning." Jessica stood on trembling legs, grabbed her phone, left without another word. In the hallway she finally breathed. 3 missed calls from Richard. She called back with shaking fingers. "They ambushed me." Her voice broke. "Built an entire conduct case. Trying to force me to withdraw or they'll formally expel me and destroy any chance at another school." Richard's voice was ice. "Where are you?" "Outside the administration building." "Stay there. Sullivan's coming." Don't sign anything. The line went dead. Sullivan arrived 20 minutes later, briefcase in hand, fury in his eyes. Show me everything. Jessica told him. The setup. The fabricated behavioral pattern. The threat. Classic witness intimidation, Sullivan said. Retaliation. They're terrified because the protest is growing and they're trying to silence you before this gets bigger. He pulled out his phone. Made a call. Release everything. Full data report. All audio files. Every discriminatory case. Every piece of evidence. Send it to every media outlet. CNN, MSNBC, Globe, Inquirer, all of them. Do it now. He hung up. Looked at Jessica. They wanted war. Let's give them war. 3:00 p.m. The data bomb dropped. Every major news outlet received a comprehensive report. Systematic discrimination. How one university's fair policies mask racial bias. 89 students denied emergency accommodations over 5 years. 73% were students of color. Audio recordings of faculty using racially biased language. Meeting minutes showing different standards for white students versus students of color. CNN ran it as breaking news. MSNBC brought on civil rights attorneys. The Boston Globe's headline, BU's hidden bias. Data reveals racial disparities in student treatment. Social media exploded. By 4 p.m., 800 students filled the steps of the administration building. Faculty joined them. Professor Santos. Dr. Williams from the nursing department. Even some administrators. Signs everywhere. Fire Whitmore. Justice for Jessica. We see your racism. News helicopters circled overhead. Inside, through the third-floor window, Dean Reeves stood pale and shaking. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. 4:37 p.m. Emergency Board of Trustees meeting called for 7 p.m. The war had reached its climax. And Jessica Thompson, broke, terrified, exhausted, stood at the center of it all. 7 p.m. The auditorium was packed. 600 people crammed into a space meant for 400. Cameras lined the back wall. Phone screens glowed. Live streams to thousands more watching online. The Board of Trustees sat on stage like judges at a trial. 12 members, mostly white, mostly over 60, mostly visibly uncomfortable. Chair Robert Langford took the microphone. This hearing will address emergency accommodation policies and Miss Thompson's case. Justice for Jessica. The chant erupted. Hundreds of voices in unison, shaking the walls. Justice for Jessica. Justice for Jessica. Langford waited, jaw tight. 3 full minutes before the crowd settled. We value transparency, he continued. We'll hear testimony from multiple parties. University lawyer William Brennan stood, smooth and confident. Our policies apply equally to all students, regardless of race or background. Miss Thompson's case, while unfortunate, doesn't indicate systematic. 73%. Kesha Williams from the NAACP rose from her seat, voice cutting through the auditorium. 73% of students denied emergency accommodations over 5 years were students of color. Those are your numbers, Mr. Brennan. Your university's numbers. The crowd erupted in applause. Brennan's confident smile faltered. Richard Castellano stood and walked to the microphone. The room went silent. My son was dying 3 weeks ago, Richard said, voice steady and cold. Opioid overdose on a Boston sidewalk. Dozens of people walked past. Filmed him on their phones. Posted him on social media. Nobody stopped. Pause. Let it sink in. Except Jessica Thompson. She dropped everything. Missed her exam. Lost her scholarship. Saved my son's life. Richard's eyes swept across the board. Then I learned your university punished her. Called it a dramatic rescue story. Offered no accommodation. When we investigated, we found you've been doing this for years. Different rules for different students. Different consequences based on skin color. He held up the data report. This is systematic discrimination dressed up as policy. Here's what happens now. You reinstate Jessica immediately. You suspend Professor Whitmore. You create independent oversight. Or my foundation pulls $120 million, and I fund federal civil rights lawsuits against every administrator who enabled this system. The auditorium exploded. Thank you for staying till the end. God bless, and please don't forget to subscribe because more interesting stories are up next.